It's our final segment this morning with Metro Vice-Mayor Jim Shulman. Really appreciate him coming on every week with us, taking your calls and questions on the Plus as well as on Facebook if you'd like to join us. And that's at newschannel5.com. Councilmember, your Vice Mayor going to be in a meeting tonight, but it's going to be historic. A lot of things historic these days. But council meets tonight, and it's going to be on WebEx.
Yeah, so 3 weeks ago, we usually meet every 2 weeks, but we had an extra Tuesday in there. 3 weeks ago, we met, pursuant by the Metro Charter. We're supposed to meet the first and third Tuesdays of the month. So we met, and that was the meeting where we spread everybody out in the entire chamber and in the public viewing area, and we told the public not to come, and everybody was like 9 feet apart. Yeah. And we had 8 resolutions came up. They were all bonding resolutions and financial resolutions, so we needed to get those passed. We did it, and then we adjourned. We pushed everything off until this meeting. This meeting will be done by teleconferencing. I believe we've got a WebEx program set up. People will be calling in. The Budget Committee met yesterday by the same system. There were some technical difficulties. Hopefully they've been fixed. But you'll be able to watch on Channel 3. We want the public to be able to watch us pursuant to open governments, and if people have concerns about legislation, look at the agenda, and you can certainly call council members today if you're concerned about something, or you can call me, and then I'll pass it along. But we will have a council meeting tonight starting at 6:30. You can watch on live streaming on Nashville.gov, or you can watch on Channel 3, and it's going to be interesting. We'll see how well it works.
All right, let's see. We've got another call. I think we have one from, is it Glenda? Are you there, Glenda?
Yes.
Hi, go ahead, Glenda.
Hey, Glenda.
I want to say I appreciate everything that everyone is doing, the government's the way they pull together and trying to keep our country going and afloat. But my question is, I have a son-in-law that works out at B&A on construction job, and he has a crew that works underneath him, and half of them wear a mask, half of them don't wear a mask. There's been crews of different sections out there that have tested positive for the coronavirus, but they're telling him that his job is essential. My daughter, she's 6 months pregnant. I have a 7-year-old granddaughter at home, and he is amongst this, working in Nashville, traveling 2 different counties to get back home. And I just do not understand why they consider this essential when everything is almost at a standstill, and the risk is so high for him to get this virus and then bring it home to my grandchildren.
All right. Yeah. Again, essential, non-essential.
Well, so the construction stuff in both the mayor's order and the governor's order is allowed. Construction is considered to be an essential function. Again, we could have several conversations in this studio about what's essential and what's not, but construction is considered to be essential. I think her point about some people wearing masks, other things, just because it's an essential function does not necessarily mean that you just ignore all health protocols. I think obviously some people are wearing masks. If you can get masks, if everybody can get a mask, I think that's a good idea. People need to, as much as they can, practice social distancing on that job site. I know sometimes that's a little, particularly in a construction site, but people need to take this seriously. And so if he's head of a crew, he needs to set down the guidelines. Again, this one's considered essential, but I can take what Glenda mentioned and pass it along as well. Just the same thing as and not everybody wearing masks. I know people are being urged to wear masks. Pass that along.
All right, let's go next to Tony. Tony, good morning. Hi, Tony.
Yeah, good morning. I called you last week to talk about this awful crowded and everything like that, you know. Or you going there shoulder to shoulder. A lot of people ain't got masks. And if I'm gonna buy a car, I'm gonna go and look inside the car, the engine and all, and that's what a lot of them do. And but these churches, they feeling a pinch now, economy-wise, and a lot of them not technically set up to do this teleconference and stuff. But I want to know if they're gonna lift the things with these churches, because people's spirits are low. I deal with a lot of seniors, and they're hurting real bad now. And when they see go by and see a whiskey store open, a liquor store open, if you can't open the church, something is wrong right here. Okay?
Listen, I don't disagree with him. I think more than ever right now, faith and church is very, very important for so many people. And that's why, and I think he also makes a good point, Vice Mayor, that there are some churches, maybe some of the smaller ones, that aren't as easily set up with cameras or whatever to stream online. And that's where I worry that some of these pastors may say, well, you know, we're going to have services, but they're small. And so they're shoulder to shoulder. And you know who's going to go? It's not going to be people like you and me that should know better. It's going to be some of these, I think, the older individuals that really miss church, and they don't have computers at home, and their own pastor's calling them to go, and they're going to go, and they are the most vulnerable. And that's what really worries me. That's why I say that's incredibly irresponsible.
So I think that's, I think everything you said makes sense. I think particularly the bigger churches probably have the capability of live streaming their services into people's homes, and they figure out how to make sure that as many people as possible can get access to the service. Smaller churches, I would really recommend that if you don't have that capability, we have a program called Telephone Reassurance, which is what you're doing is every day at the same time you're calling somebody who's at home and you're checking on them. So same thing can be used in churches as well. People can call those folks. I agree with Tony. I mean, this is such a difficult time for so many people, and particularly for older Tennesseans who may be by themselves and are now staying home alone. It's nice to reach out to people. It's nice to, first of all, reach out and check and see how they're doing to make sure they don't need anything. And just doing that on a daily basis is amazing. But also from a church standpoint or a religious standpoint, just calling and making sure that you lift people's spirits, that's good. Again, remember, we want to get on the other side of this thing. So people do need to practice, you know, safer at home right now. But urging people and encouraging people through this is very important. I would encourage people to do that.
Good suggestion. Let's go next. I think we've got time for another call from this one, Steve. Good morning, Steve.
Yeah.
Hi.
I want to know, I got two questions. I want to know what he's doing to protect the garbage workers that handle the garbage and stuff. And then also, is he looking close at sewer treatment plants that these, I noticed on the internet that untreated sewage, improperly treated sewage was getting in the oceans, and that the people on the beach that were walking the beach, the waves were coming in. And if you look it up on the internet, I think you'll find it.
Yeah, that way. Yeah, I've heard that happening. We don't have any beaches here.
Yeah, I wish we did, but we don't right now.
But the garbage workers, now a lot of them are private, you know,
yeah, you got
companies.
private haulers, but you've also got, you know, the metro folks picking up. And
especially in the tornado zones.
Yeah, a lot of that is being done by, you know, the claw that comes by and picks up your trash can and puts it in there so you don't have as much exposure. And I noticed the last time I saw a garbage truck driving around, like last week, I think it was just the one person driving the truck, and it was the claw picking up the thing and then dumping it. But again, what I do with this information is then go pass it back to the right departments and say, okay, people making sure that people who pick up the garbage, which is an essential function of what we need in the city, are being taken care of. And again, the word has gotten out that we have to protect all employees, particularly our essential folks. Thinking back to the question about the construction workers, yeah, get them to put on a mask if you can get one, or a bandana or something, and practice good health techniques. Yeah. Sewage treatment, I know that the water department is up and running. I know that they've got people stationed in the departments to make sure that our water department, the water is clean and safe. All the machines are operating. Have a lot of confidence in the water department. They saw this early, and they took the necessary steps to make sure that their folks are protected and that our water is protected as well.
That's good. You know, and those folks there are very important, because to make sure the water stays pure. So many people right now, Jim, on Facebook, and some of these calls is what's being done, who's doing this. I got to say this, you know, if you're worried about your own health, all right, the person it starts with isn't, you know who you need to ask is yourself, all right? That's my take. Okay, not what's the city going to do to protect us, or what's this. Yeah, they're doing their part, but if you're uncomfortable in a situation, you're going to have to make some tough decisions for yourself, whether or not you stay home from your job. Does that cost you your job? You're going to have to balance things. Do you wear a mask everywhere you go? These kind of things. But it starts with you. I mean, you're the one that ultimately controls your own health and safety. No one's got a gun to your head forcing you to go and do anything. Now, you may have to if you're afraid of losing your job. But beyond that, it really is personal responsibility to the hugest measure, as opposed to just constantly, well, what are you doing to protect the garbage workers? Well, you know what? The garbage workers better be smart enough to protect themselves. That's kind of my take. I want to hear more personal responsibility instead of looking constantly to the government to say, can you do this? Can you do this? Can you? No, it starts with you. It just does.
You know, like I said, you know, we have a council meeting tonight. We're looking at it from all these different health standpoints. You know, there's going to be a few people in the chamber. Everybody else stays home. The public can watch us. We don't want the public coming down there, but we want them to be a part of this. So we want them to engage and let us know if they're concerned about pieces of legislation. So it's a matter of taking, like you said, personal responsibility, being very careful, and then practicing it. So if you're out, even if you're out walking on a street and you see somebody coming on the same side of the street, you cross over so you don't run into each other. Be personally responsible. You can be concerned about these other things as well, and we pass them along and we try to do the best we can. But I think Nick's right. You got to start with yourself and your family. Make sure you're protected.
Yeah, do what you can to protect yourself first and foremost. Family, loved ones, friends.
That's
hey,
right.
Jim, thanks for coming on, Vice Mayor. We really appreciate you. We'll see you again next week, and good luck tonight with the technical aspect of that meeting. It's going to be historic. We'll be watching.
Thank you. Stay safe.
All right.
Appreciate it.
Take a break. We'll be back. Wrap things up right after this.
Blair.